Check. 1, 2, 3.
The D.
Brief.
This is the D Brief.
Go. Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's
arts and entertainment scene.
This is the D
Brief.
Welcome to the podcast. This is the Debrief, and we're going to cover everything that's going on in the Detroit arts and entertainment scene for the week of December 11th, 2017. I am your co-host. My name is Seth Ressler.
And I am Mike Jeter.
How you doing, sir?
I am fantabulous, my friend.
Oh, good. Exciting show for you today. We have, first of all, Liz Cosby, who is coming in. She is the president of the Greater Detroit chapter of the United States Bartenders Guild. Also, we're going to catch up with Amy Peterson. She is the founder of Rebel Nell Jewelry. This stuff is cool, man. I bought some of this for my girlfriend a while back. That's how I found out about this, is because I needed to get like a cool anniversary gift. I was under some pressure to come up with something.
It wasn't a I screwed up gift?
No, it wasn't. No, I was good. I was in good shape. But
Baby, I'm
still...
sorry gift.
No, but they actually make this really cool jewelry out of Detroit graffiti. And it's a really cool story, so we're going to get into that. We'll talk to Amy about that. Also, we have Diane Bailey and Richard Payton. Diane is the director, and Richard Payton is the one and only star, the lead actor in the Santaland Diaries and Season's Greetings. It's happening over at the Ringwald Theater in Ferndale. This is, you know who David Sedaris is?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so he's got, he basically, these are plays based upon his essays that he wrote. So,
dope.
Yeah, really, kind of dark humor, the kind of thing. I'm excited about that. And as always, we've got all the concerts, comedy, plays, movies, sports, and more that's happening in Detroit. Stick around.
D Brief.
Want more? Text the word Detroit to the number 444-999.
All right, people who have been listening to the podcast, they know this is how it works. I am the guy who's new to town.
The newest of the new.
I am, not, 2 years.
You're kind of broken in.
I'm getting broken in.
Yeah.
I'm acclimating to the Detroit area. You grew up in the area.
Grew up in the area.
So every week, at the end of every show, you give me some homework, something I got to go learn so that I can, be a Detroiter.
Yeah, man, because I don't want you slipping up and saying something dumb like...
I do that all the time.
Which way to Fisherman's Wharf? It's like, that's in San Francisco. And get pounded and all that.
That I knew. Yeah. I did know that one.
Yeah, we don't have that here in Detroit.
All right, well, you gave me some homework last episode. Something that I had to go research. What was it?
Tiger Stadium. The beloved. The old Tiger Stadium, not that
not the new.
Well, the Copa.
Do people call it Comerica Park, or people call it Tiger Stadium now, or...
I call it Tiger Stadium.
You do?
I do.
But you're just doing that as an act of rebellion?
Yeah, man. It's like we have Pine Knob, which is DTE, quote unquote, DTE.
You just refuse to go with the big corporate name.
I just don't, man.
Right?
It's Pine Knob.
Yeah,
it's always going to be Pine Knob.
Here's what I learned about Tiger Stadium. This is not the only name it's had. It's had a couple of other names. But tell me if I'm pronouncing this right. Naveen Stadium? Navin Stadium. So no, I'm not. Navin Stadium. It was named from 1912 to 1938 after the owner Frank Navin.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you own the stadium. You get to name
call it whatever you want,
right? And then it was Briggs Stadium until
named
1961. After? Walter Briggs,
who was
an owner.
All right,
I see how it works.
You see the pattern
I see
here.
The pattern. So who was Mr. Tiger then? Not so much.
Mike Ilitch.
Right. But the Tigers played there from 1912 to 1999. You ever see any Tigers games there?
Many.
Okay.
That was my spot, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, there were a lot of blind spots, but...
what do you mean blind spots?
Well, you had obstruction and all that, but on your ticket, you would pay for an obstructive view seat. But as long as you're in a stadium.
Be less.
Yeah.
Explain this to me, because I read about a flagpole that was sitting there and somewhere in like the outfield or something. I don't know what it was.
It's like in center field.
It was?
Yeah.
Just sitting there?
Just blocking a view. We didn't need it. Listen, if we were winning championships back then,
Nobody cared.
No one cared. As long as you were in the stadium.
All right, I understand. The Lions also played there.
Yes.
They were there from 1938 to 1974.
Yeah, until they moved to Pontiac to play at the Silverdome.
Which is also no longer there.
It's no longer there.
It's also blown as of last week.
Yes, after 2 tries. Yes.
Took a couple tries.
Yes, I still say is Wile E. Coyote.
Well, here were some big moments that happened at Tiger Stadium. On May 2nd, 1939, Lou Gehrig voluntarily benched himself after 2,130 consecutive games. And it turned out that this was his final game due to declining health. He, of course, had, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, which is named for him. Also, big moment there in the 1971 All-Star Game, bottom of the third inning. Reggie Jackson hit a homer that hit the transformer on the roof.
Oakland A, Reggie Jackson at
Yes.
the time. He wasn't with the Yankees.
Yes.
They hit the roof. He's the only one that's done that.
Really?
Yes.
It was a big deal.
It was a huge deal.
Well, Ernie Harwell, who was the sports... I mean, he's a legend around here, right?
They have a statue right at the stadium, at the new Tiger Stadium, of Ernie.
Well, he called it the hardest hit ball that he'd ever seen. So... And you can find that. I saw it. I found it on YouTube. I went and hunted it out because you made me, because that's
Because I was a baby then.
right. The final game at Tiger Stadium was on September 27th, 1999, against the Kansas City Royals, and then they demolished it in 2008 and 2009. But there was talk of doing something else with it for a while, right? I mean, they were thinking about that.
Yeah, there was a Tiger Stadium group of fans that wanted them to keep it up. You know, not knock it down and turn it into apartments. That was rumored at one time, and keeping the ball field in place so they could use it for PAL and so on. There were all kinds of things that were bandied back and forth, but eventually it just tore it down. And now they're building the new PAL Police Athletic League baseball fields there.
Oh, nice. Do you have a favorite memory from your time in Tiger Stadium?
Oh boy, opening day. I went to several opening days there. I don't remember much of them.
Why is that, Mike?
Let's just say Michigan and Trumbull was the place to be.
Yeah.
You know, we partied hard back then.
Nice.
Yeah, hot dogs were cheap.
Well, look, that's the homework. I always
Good job, man.
I do what I can. I do my research, but I always like to return the favor by giving you a pop quiz. So,
And always pass them with flying colors, too.
like once, maybe twice.
Well, the last two I have not done well.
Hey, here's how it works. I've got 3 statements. 2 of them are true. 1 of them is false, and you have to see if you can identify the false statement. You don't have to tell me now. You've got till the end of the show to think about it. But, put these in your brain. All right. Statement number 1. You ready? Mm-hmm. The stadium opened on April 12th, 1920. The same day as Fenway Park in Boston. Mm-hmm. Statement number 2. Exactly 11,111 home runs. 11111. Home runs were hit at Tiger Stadium, including Babe Ruth's 700th homer on July 13th, 1934. Mm-hmm. And statement number 3. Sanders Confectionery named their legendary Detroit dessert Bumpy Cake in honor of the unusual left-handed pitching style of player Sam Crawford.
Okay.
All right, you want to think about it a little bit?
Yeah, those are pretty good.
All right, we'll see if you can come up with it. Plus, in a few minutes, we're going to talk more about this jewelry that's made from Detroit graffiti.
Action. This is the debrief.
On the screen.
All right, Mike, what's going on with movies?
Oh boy, Star Wars.
Oh,
The Last Jedi.
it's a big weekend.
Oh, brother.
Oh, man.
All the nerds.
Are you a Star Wars nerd? Are you one of those guys that would wait?
I'm not a nerd, but I have to see all of them now.
You've never put your hair in the buns on each side?
No,
like Princess Leia?
no. I didn't dress up as Chewbacca or Luke Skywalker or Han Solo or any of that stuff. But here's what I did. I didn't watch Star Wars when it initially came out in the, 70s?
Yeah.
I watched it when they reissued it. When they remastered it.
Ooh, that was the first time you saw it?
That's the first time I saw it. I wasn't big into space movies like that.
See, here's the thing.
What's that?
Han shot first. Do you know about this controversy?
No.
No, because there's that scene in the bar in the original, the first movie. There's that scene in the bar where Han shoots his blaster and kills. I think Greedo is the character that he kills, right? And if you watch the original movie, it looks like Han fires the first shot. In other words, it wasn't retribution; it was preemptive. Right, and in the remade version, they changed that so it doesn't make Han look like
a bad guy, a jerk.
guy, right? A jerk, and so there's
boy.
so you'll see if you ever see a T-shirt that says Han shot first. That's what it's about.
See, and I wouldn't even look at it that deeply.
Oh, there are people who do. Believe me.
Yeah, right,
Now,
right.
did you
They
see
don't
the
have any kids either.
Did you see the last one, the 7th one to come out?
I've seen them all.
Oh, you have?
Oh, yeah.
Did you like the last one?
I loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't because I thought it was, and I know different people have different opinions. I thought it was just a basic retread of the original. It was basically the exact same plot as the very
but it was
first Star Wars.
okay. They're all the exact same plot.
No,
because why would you build a Death Star, have it destroyed, and then go right back and build the same design? Come on, dog.
Saying.
Come on, dog. Why not make it like a trapezoid or a tetrahedron or something? Something like that, man. No.
That was my
problem. We think the ball with the nipple and stuff, the little belly button indent in it, that's perfect design. They just got lucky that time. Next time we'll be ready.
I will say this, though. I am hearing good things about this one.
I'm hearing great things about it. Rian Johnson.
Yes, the director.
Yeah, he directed Brick, which I love that movie. It's kind of on the low radar for some people.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
And he also did
Looper, right?
Looper.
Yeah,
yes.
with Bruce Willis and the
Third Rock on the Sun.
Gordon Levitt.
Eugene Gordon Levitt. I don't know what his name is. Guy's got 40. John Joseph Jingleheimer.
That was a good movie, though, when he did that one.
Yes. I haven't seen Looper, but I love Brick. Brick.
I might need to go out and see this film. I mean, just because, and plus with...
you can't lose. It's Star Wars.
Well, plus Princess Leia's in it, right? And with Carrie Fisher passing,
Fisher's
I think a lot of
last
people
film
want to go out
with
and see that. Yeah,
right.
So, no, I might have to go out and see this one.
All right, Ferdinand. Let's go to the next one. Ferdinand. It's a cartoon. It's a story about a giant bull with a big heart. WWE superstar John Cena and SNL fave Kate McKinnon are in it. And Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias, comedian Gabriel Iglesias.
Is this the first time he's done an animated film? Because he seems perfect for that.
I'm not sure, but I would say it probably is the first time that at least John Cena and Gabriel Iglesias. Why would they do it?
And Kate McKinnon, I think, is a national treasure.
Oh,
she's amazing.
I think as soon as she came onto the scene on SNL, I remember watching her and going, she's the next superstar.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she can leave anytime she wants.
Well, and I've been watching SNL more in basically since the last election than I was ever before. And she just steals, she does so many of the best characters.
Everything.
So.
Also coming out is Gotti. It's a movie about infamous crime boss John Gotti, and John Travolta is playing him. Yeah, John Travolta is playing John Gotti. Because I heard that he got the role because the director didn't have to worry about him remembering a first different name. So he's like, his name is John. Let's just hire this guy.
You don't think it was a Scientology thing?
No, they could have gotten Samuel L. Jackson, but
right.
He would have had to put on whiteface or something. All right. Also at the movie theaters, at the Main Art Theater in Royal Oak, we have the Disaster Artist.
That looks like an interesting film. The more I hear about it,
it does, and it's getting a lot of great reviews.
This is James Franco and Seth Rogen.
They're talking Oscar.
Really?
They're talking Oscar.
Really?
They're talking Oscar. I don't know.
Those two.
I don't know who they are.
Yeah, but still, somebody is.
It's probably the people in the movie. Hey, you think we should get an Oscar?
I think you just started the
movie.
No
one else.
Right.
We should have asked Greg from last week.
Yeah.
Also, 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, The Man Who Invented Christmas, Wonder Wheel, Woody Allen film, and Friday Midnight Show at the Main Art Theater, Big Trouble in Little China, and The Room.
Now, The Room is the film that the Disaster Artist is actually about, right?
Exactly,
so
the director of that. Yes.
Right, the Disaster Artist is kind of like Ed Wood. It's a film about a terrible director who made this awful film, and that film is called The Room, and so Main Art Theater decided to actually do a showing of The Room.
And I think that's a great idea. So go watch The Room first, and then watch The Disaster Artist.
Oh, see, I was going to do the other direction.
But you get a full scope of it's like, oh, okay.
Right.
We know why that movie sucked. At the Maple Theater and Kitchen in Bloomfield, you have Last Flag Flying, Lady Bird, which is, I'm very interested in that one.
That's getting amazing reviews.
Yes. 3 billboards outside of Ebbing. I don't know what's wrong with my speech today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Darkest Hour and Kid Brother. Kid Brother is local director.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, local director, local actors. I actually saw this film as a preview film about a month and a half, 2 months ago. It was pretty cool. A lot of heart. I recommend people going to check it out and support that. And also at the Redford Theater, It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, well, I guess it's the season.
It's that time of year.
All right, coming up in just a few minutes, we'll talk about what's happening on stage around Detroit.
This is the D.
Detroit.
This is the D.
Brave.
All right, Mike, I'm excited to tell you about this. This was really cool. Like I said, I needed a gift for my girlfriend a while back, several weeks back, and a coworker recommended to me Rebel Nell jewelry. And I didn't know anything about it. I really didn't. So I started doing some research, and it's really cool what they do. They turn graffiti into jewelry. They do it here in Detroit. Yeah, they're based here in Detroit, and that's what I wanted to know, right?
Like, how do they do that?
So I called up one of the co-founders, Amy Peterson, and I sat down with her and went over to her place and said, explain to me how this works. And she told me. And here's what she said the process is.
Each one is totally one of a kind, and it's unique not only because of the cross-section of graffiti, but because of the woman who made it, right? They have complete creative vision to cut whatever color patterns and shapes speak to them. But it really is this kind of psychedelic, kaleidoscopic look to it, because we're able to go beneath just the top layer and expose all of the layers that make up that particular piece of graffiti. And it's always fun for me to see, and our number one rule here at Rebel Nell is you never fall in love with the top layer. It's what's underneath that you're really going to get access to.
Yeah, so it's really an artistic process to make a piece of jewelry. And so each piece is, like when I was looking, I looked at a couple of pieces online that they sell through their website, and then they listed a number of stores that they sell them in around town. And so I actually went driving. I mean, I went to 4 or 5 different places. Like one was over by the DIA, and one was over in Clawson, a bunch of different places that you could go to get this jewelry, because I wanted to find the right one. Like I was looking for something that I thought she would like, and that I thought was cool. And
because if it were me, if I were making jewelry, it'll be like elbow macaroni and strings, or maybe paper clips.
No.
And like, here, baby. No,
it wouldn't be good. No, but I will say that when I walked into where they make the jewelry, first of all, there's a table with a big pile of just graffiti chips all over it, and they're just sitting there, and there's women in there polishing it down, and it's a real work of art for every woman who's making the jewelry. I mean, each piece is just unique and special. So I asked Amy a little bit about the history of the company and how it all came together and how she got the idea for doing this. And here's what she said.
I was living in Detroit right next door to a well-known shelter called COTS. What I learned was that these are incredible women who left challenging situations in search of a better opportunity, not only for themselves, but for their children. And even if that meant starting over and going to a shelter, you just felt this need to do something. And these were my neighbors. And so first my business partner and I thought, what if we could go to the shelter and provide some financial literacy classes? That's where really it started. Over time and over discussions, we're like, yeah, but how are we going to pay for this? How can we create some sort of product that we can sell that would support not only giving them a job, employment, but also these classes? Let's teach a woman to fish mentality. So it was kind of at that moment Rebel Nell was born. I went running one day on the DeQuinder Cut, saw some graffiti that had crumbled off the wall. I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. I brought it home, called my business partner, and about 4 months later, we had a pretty solid prototype. And we liked it because it was you could have a voice, it was teachable, and it was a really cool piece of Detroit.
Yeah, so this is a company with a mission. I mean, and in fact, the mission actually came even before the jewelry. They set out to basically get women back on their feet who have been in shelters or been in a hard situation.
Outstanding.
Yeah, so I thought that was a really cool that they went in there and they supported all that. Question for you, where do you actually go to get Detroit graffiti?
Detroit?
Well, yes.
That's
true.
Seemed kind of,
Wasn't a trick question. But I wanted to know what the process was. Here's what Amy said.
We go in what we call harvests or scavenges. Only in Detroit would you consider going to collect graffiti a harvest. Primarily, the prime time for that is spring, ironically, once because of the nature of where graffiti is located and the weather and the elements, it'll flake off throughout the winter.
So maybe we should go harvest some graffiti this spring.
Or at least plant some.
Yeah, I think so.
We can.
I'll get a can. See, now we can say that. Next time the cop shows up. No, man,
we're planting it for our spring harvest.
try
jail?
that.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, right. See if that works.
Backseat, right?
Yes. So I asked Amy a little bit more about the mission of this organization, about supporting women in transition. I wanted her to tell me a little bit more about what that's all about, and she said this.
The secret to our sauce is really our relationship that we've built with COTS over the years. They do a wonderful job of helping us identify women who are ready for this type of transitional opportunity. We really look for three things: have a desire to change their situation, can work well with others, and have a willingness to learn. It's really what we look for. We don't care about your background. We don't do background checks. It's not important to us. What we care about is where you want to go, and feeding into and helping build that flame, that passion that's inside of them is what we really focus on. And so once you come into Rebel Nell, we consider you part of the family, and we take it very seriously. We do provide that family support system here. So we do a range of things to help them get back on their feet, and we're always improving and tweaking based on the individual. But everything from financial literacy classes, business education, housing resources, legal aid, helping them get their driver's licenses restored, women empowerment classes, really tackling at the root the barriers that have been prohibitive in the past.
Yeah, so if you were looking for a gift, I think, this Christmas for somebody, and you want something that's not only local, like Detroit art, but is also, gives back and supports the community, definitely check out Rebel Nell. Last thing I asked Amy was how the company got its name, and she loves to tell this story. Here it is.
When we were coming up with the company and we created the concept, the name, we're like, we have to come up with a cool name that's reflective of what we're trying to do. And we wanted to pay tribute to women who paved the trail for us and really were leaders in this field. And man, we just tossed around names forever. And then we both realized we have a passion for Eleanor Roosevelt and everything that woman stood for. She was not only an incredible humanitarian, but advocate for women's rights and civil rights. And her nickname that her dad gave her was Little Nell. And we thought she was worthy of a more kick-ass nickname, and that's how we got Rebel Nell. We also think it's appropriate because the women that we hire are really rebelling against what life's dealt to them, and we're using graffiti, which is, rebellious in and of itself.
You can actually hear, when I sat down to do that interview, you can hear them shaping the graffiti in the back and the jewelry. And
I dig that, Little Nell.
Yeah.
That's actually Nell Carter from Give Me a Break.
Yeah?
That was her rap name.
Oh, really?
As well. So I see the empowerment of...
Well, look, if you want more details, or if you want to go check out the jewelry, you can look at it online, rebelnell, NELL.org. You can also find a list of stores where you can go and see it, and really go check it out, because it comes in all different sort of shapes and sizes, and each piece is unique, and it's really cool and supports a good cause. Mike, I don't know what to get you for Christmas. I don't know if it's going to be jewelry, but we'll see if we can come up with some ideas in just a few minutes.
I have a few ideas.
This is the Deep Brief.
On stage.
Let's take a look at what's happening in the theaters around town. City Theater has 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, the musical. There's a lot of different versions of this, aren't there?
Yeah, there's also the... No, I don't have it.
We'll just assume that there are. The Ringwald Theater has David Sedaris' Santaland Diaries and Season Greetings. We'll talk to the director and the lead actor, the only actor, in a few minutes about that production. Stagecrafters in Royal Oak has Elf the Musical Jr. This is kind of cool what they're doing with this, right? I mean, this is all kids that are... they've got a youth program over at Stagecrafters, and they're the ones that are putting on this show.
Local kids, man, go out and support live entertainment.
So their ages, I think, 8 to 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wayne State's Hillberry Theater has Stop Kiss, which explores LGBT relationships. Wayne State's Bonstell Theater has A Christmas Carol. On Friday, December 15th, the Secret Society of Twisted Storytellers presents Romance. That's the theme of the stories that night.
Oh, yeah.
And Michael Collier is going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
You're excited about that, aren't you?
Romance.
Oh. I thought you were excited about the Michael Collier. Maybe
yeah. I mean, very funny individual.
Sunday, December 17th, Moscow Ballet's got The Great Russian Nutcracker at the Fox Theater. Also on Sunday, December 17th, Michigan Opera Theater's Children's Chorus is doing A Winter's Fantasy. And a couple of cool things, cool stories you might want to know about. Gerald Adams, he is the organ technician over at U of M. Well, he we restored this pipe organ from Thomas Edison's lab in Greenfield Village. Yeah, and so now Dave Wagner, who's over at the radio station at WRCJ, he's been playing it nightly for the holiday nights that they're doing at Greenfield Village. He's a concert organist. And this thing hasn't been played in like 80 years, so it's pretty amazing. It's a piece of history. Also, one other thing, let's give a shout out to the DIA. The New York Times just put together a list of the best art of 2017, and one of their art critics, Holland Cotter, said that one of the most memorable exhibits for him was Detroit After Dark. They did over at the DIA. Ooh. So shout out to those guys.
Man, the DIA it's a gem, people. If you're not going down there often, at least monthly, you're missing out in life, man. There's so much cool stuff to see there. So much cool stuff to do. Get to the DIA.
I love the Friday Night Jazz series that they do.
Yeah, in the summer and all.
All that stuff. Yeah, no, go check it out. And look, not for nothing, but this is the second time recently that we've talked about the New York Times recognizing the city of Detroit.
Detroit is getting a lot of love lately from all sorts of publications, and people need to recognize that, hey, man, we have a gem. We're amongst a gem, a diamond in the rough, and we're starting to come out of that rough and get all shiny and glistening like that glitter art.
You know what? You don't realize how much you like a city until a friend comes to town and you start, talking about your city and talking about all the cool things that are going on. I had a friend of mine. His name is Derek Diedrichson. He was the night disc jockey at WBCN in Boston when I worked there. We worked there together. He went on with his brother to make a television show for HGTV. You know those little tiny houses? He makes those. Nice. and he's written books about it and all this stuff. Well, he came to Detroit and was asking me where to go and where to, and we had dinner. We went over, got together over the weekend. He went to a number of different places. He went to the Henry Ford. He went to the Heidelberg Project. He went, downtown to all these different places. And I go on Facebook today, and he's just got photo after photo after photo and just raving about what a cool town. Like, he clearly, within the span of like 48 hours, did so much amazing stuff in this
Outstanding,
city.
Man.
Yeah, and he had a great time and was speaking very highly of it. So, and I'm sitting there like telling him about the city, and I'm like, oh, this is going on, and that's I had to stop as I was driving home from dinner that night. I was like, wow, I guess I like this city. So, hey, in just a few minutes, we'll talk about the concerts that are coming to town. Stick around.
This is the deep. This is the deep brief. This is the deep brief.
All right, Mike, I like you, but I'm not getting jewelry for you for Christmas.
Seth, I wouldn't want you to. That would be very inappropriate.
Yeah, I think so,
Would not be apropos.
I think one of us would have to be fired.
I got some stuff you can get me.
All right, what's on your Christmas list this year?
Glad you asked. Olympia Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Those involved with the things going on at Joe Louis Arena. Now that the Red Wings have moved down the street to the Hara, the Hot and Ready Arena, it's going to catch on. They're having an auction.
I heard about this.
Yeah, they're auctioning off all kinds of cool stuff dealing with the Red Wings and Olympia Entertainment shows and concerts that they've had over the years.
So they're just selling pieces of this, right?
That's it.
They did this with Tiger Stadium too, right?
Yes.
Did they do this with the Silverdome or not? I
don't recall them doing that with the Silverdome.
All right, so you better get a piece of this if you want a piece of this.
Yeah, man. I'm sure a lot of people would because, it's mainly Red Wing stuff, but it started on Saturday, December 10th, and it's running until 10 a.m. December 16th. That's the auction. So you can go on and bid on 804 items, starting at $25.
That's a lot of items.
That's a lot of items.
I'm not getting you all 804. I'll tell you that right now.
I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want it, but I'll give you a short list of things that they have. A 10-foot tall octopus.
That's not going to fit in your stocking, dude.
I'll make it work. You can get arena signage, Red Wings lockers.
Wait a minute. Go back to the octopus for a second.
Yes.
Tell me the story behind this octopus.
Okay. Back in the day, a long time ago, to win the Stanley Cup, a team had to win 8 games.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
So an octopus has 8 tentacles.
That makes sense.
Ergo, therefore, Detroit adopted it when you had to win 16 games. So it makes perfect sense because now you have to win 16 games.
Now you have to. That's 2 octopuses.
Yeah, so
that's like a male and female octopus.
Yeah, you double barrel it.
So yeah, explain because this is one of those Detroit things that I don't get. This whole octopus throwing thing is weird to me.
That's our thing, man. That's our thing.
These are octopuses. These are.
Yeah, they usually do it at the beginning of.
These aren't real octopus.
Oh yeah, they are.
What?
Yeah, real octopi.
PETA knows about this.
I mean, they're dead.
Well, PETA knows about this. I mean, come on.
You go down to a fish market or something that sells octopi.
I wouldn't know where to buy an octopus if I had to. Where do you buy your octopus?
At Octopus RS. That's where most people tend to go. Or
All
Octopi RS.
All right.
That's plural. But yeah, so that's how we ended up with that whole tradition.
You're going to get an octopus in your stocking.
8 tentacles and all that. And we usually do it the first game of the season and during the playoffs.
How much is that octopus going for? 10-foot octopus?
Oh, boy. Right now, the bid is up to $6,500.
That's a lot for an octopus.
But, dude, if you get it, you would be the coolest cat in the neighborhood.
Is your house big enough to put an octopus in it?
Put it on the roof.
All right.
What's a roof for?
I don't think it'd be there for very long. I have a feeling your octopus would disappear if you put it on the roof.
I'll put a tracking device on it. Yeah, so you can get photos celebrating.
On each tentacle.
Yeah, exactly. You get photos celebrating the Stanley Cup championship teams. There's all kinds of stuff. All right. But the seats you can't get. That's not part of the auction.
Oh, they're not selling those.
No, not right now because Olympia and the city of Detroit, they've yet to formalize a deal regarding those arena fixtures. So lights and seats and things of that nature you can't get. You can get scoreboards.
I didn't realize there was so much red tape around the different pieces of memorabilia there.
Well, because the city owns the stadium.
Do you remember, for our last podcast, you and I interviewed Mark Ridley, and we were at his office in the back of Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, and I saw what looked like a seat. I thought it was from Tiger Stadium that was sitting there in his office. Did you see that?
Yes, and I believe that was from Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, I wonder if he wants to get a matching.
I think he stole that one. I'm kidding, Mr. Ridley. Of course, you're not a thief. You're not a thief. But look, if you want to buy some stuff, let me rephrase that. Seth, go to bidonthejoe.com and buy me some stuff
for Christmas,
like a puck freezer. A puck freezer. That's for sale. Who wouldn't need a puck freezer?
They don't come pre-frozen?
Or a freezer for the rest of us. It's just called a freezer.
Regular freezer.
I'm like, a puck freezer? Like Frigidaire makes a puck freezer?
Right, yeah. I've
it's
got
just
one.
Called
it's
freezer.
Great. You can get cubed pucks or you can get crushed pucks.
Crushed pucks.
All right. So where do people go if they want to make a bid? What's the...
Yes. Go to bidonthejoe.com. BIDONTHEJOE.com.
All right, I'll confer with Santa. Maybe we'll get you something there. Dave, there is a play that's based on David Sedaris' works. It's happening in Ferndale, and we're going to talk to the director and the lead actor about it in just a moment.
This is the D
Concert calendar.
All right, Mike, let's talk about the shows that are coming to town. On Wednesday, December 13th, we have DJ and producer Elenium of the Royal Oak Theater. Also Wednesday, Say Anything is going to be performing the first of 2 nights at St. Andrews, the second night being Thursday, of course, December 14th. Also on Thursday, we have Grammy Award-winning Norman Brown's Joyous Christmas in a jazzy kind of way.
Oh, yeah.
That's starring Bobby Caldwell and featuring Marion Meadows. That's happening at the Andiamo Showroom in Warren.
Great place to see a show.
Yeah, also we have a local superstar, a guy from Southfield, who is known as Grizz. Now, every year Grizz does a couple of nights at the Masonic Temple, and he calls it Grizzmas. But this year he's actually adding a third night, and that's going to be called The Night Before Grizzmas. Not surprisingly. That's happening at the Royal Oak Music Theater on December 14th. On Friday, December 15th, then, you have the first night of Grizzmas at the Masonic Temple. You've also got the voice of the Red Wings, singer Karen Newman, is going to be at the Andiamo Showroom in Warren. And the Chainsmokers, going to be at the Fillmore. And finally, some local bands. You've got Loggerheads, George Morris, and the Gypsy Chorus, and 5 Pound Snap. They're going to be at PJ's Lager House over in Detroit. On Saturday, December 16th, you've got the rock and roll Michigan band Patty Hype, going to be at the Pike Room in Pontiac. DJ and electronic producer Grizz is doing his second and final night of Grizzmas at the Masonic Temple on Sunday, December 17th. 98 degrees. You get your boy band on.
Ooh.
Were you ever...
They're still 2 degrees short of what I like.
Were you ever a boy band fan of any kind?
The Jacksons.
Wow, that's going back.
Yeah, other than that, well, maybe New Edition.
New Edition.
Yeah, New Edition.
New Kids on the Block was my first cassette.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did it hurt?
A little bit. Little bit. 98 degrees on Sunday. Going to be at the Soundboard in Motor City Casino. And on Tuesday, December 19th, you have Michigan artist D.O. Rossi going to be at the Pike Room in Pontiac. And big news, big music news. Eminem. New album. We've been talking about it for a while. We've been waiting for it. There have been hints all over the place. There have been like ads that have mysteriously shown up in papers, and people kept wondering. He was on Saturday Night Live a few weeks ago. People were wondering, right? Yeah. And then there was that, of course, that freestyle he did that was all anti-Trump that got a lot of attention from BET. Well, there is a new Eminem album coming out. It is called Revival. It's going to be out on December 15th. This is the 9th solo album from Detroit superstar Eminem. And the guest stars on this are amazing. He tweeted the track listing, and I mean, it's just superstar after superstar after superstar. Alicia Keys is going to be on it. Beyonce, Ed Sheeran, Pink, Fresher, Ex-Ambassadors, Skylar Grey, like you mentioned, Kalani. I mean, it just looks like an amazing lineup. Yeah, I'm excited about this.
But I'm puzzled.
Yeah.
I don't see my name on it.
I think your track is going to be a B-side. Yeah, I
could bring a hook. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Booby doo boo, booby doo boo, boo boo. Eminem or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have his people call your people. All right. In just a few moments, we'll talk about the comedy shows coming to Detroit.
Can't get enough.
This is the Deep Breeze.
Subscribe in Apple Podcasts or wherever you find your favorite shows.
Mike, there's a very cool theater over in Ferndale, and it is called the Ringwald Theater.
Yes, sir.
They do a lot of edgy shows over there.
They do.
Cool stuff, weird stuff, stuff that other people wouldn't necessarily do. And I got an opportunity to sit down and talk to director and the lead and really the only actor in a production that they're doing for the Christmas season. It's called the Santaland Diaries in Season's Greetings. And here's what happens. Here's the way it works. They've actually been doing this particular show for 10 years, the entire time that the Ringwald Theater has been open. They've been doing this production every year. It's based on David Sedaris. You know who David Sedaris is?
Absolutely. He is the brother of Amy Sedaris. He's also very funny, very clever writer.
Yeah, storyteller and
yes.
Dark, clever, humorous. So they've been doing these plays that are based on David Sedaris' works for 10 years now. But this is the first year that Diane Bailey is taking over to direct it, and Richard Payton is doing it. Playing both of these productions, both the Santaland Diaries and Season's Greetings, on his own. And so I sat down with the two of them together. And first I asked Diane, I wanted her to tell me a little bit about the Ringwald Theater, and she let me in on the history.
And this is our 11th season. We just had our 10-year anniversary in August. We're probably the only theater in town that kind of focuses more on LGBT plays, and we also kind of try to do stuff that's not, like, we're not doing Neil Simon here and Shakespeare and things like that, because there's a lot of places in town that already do that. So our kind of niche is doing sort of like the stuff that you might not see other places. We try to do a lot of like Michigan and world premieres here, if you will.
Yeah, so it's a great place to go if you want to check out a show that's a little more experimental, a little more on the cutting edge. Check out the Ferndale Ringwald Theater. I asked Diane to tell me a little bit about David Sedaris and about the background of this play. Here's what she had to say.
David Sedaris is a well-known essayist. He has a book, Holidays on Ice, that has all these different Christmas stories throughout it, which I had read years ago, and I was a big fan of David Sedaris. And he had first did Santaland Diaries as an essay, and Ira Glass from This American Life, they were buddies in Chicago, had him read it on the show, and that kind of got the ball rolling and got his whole career kind of going. So then they took this and made it into a play, and we've been doing it here every year for the last 10 years. And it's one of those things that, like, I would come every year to see it since even before I started working here. It's just like, it's so lovely and just fun. But after last year, they were kind of like, maybe we should do something new. So Joe asked me if I had any ideas and if I wanted to do it with Richard, and I was like, hell yeah.
You know, we seem to talk about storytelling a lot on this podcast. It seems to come up. I mean, it's sort of tangentially related to, you know, your work as a comedian. And
Right.
we had Satori Shakur from the Secret Society of Twisted Storytellers on, and we've talked about The Moth and sort of these things. And David Sedaris very much fits into that world.
Yes.
And it's a cool world to be a part of and to witness and to go see. If you haven't seen that kind of stuff, you should definitely go check it out. Well, I didn't just talk to Diane. I also talked to Richard Payton. He is the lead actor in these two. You know, it's basically they're pairing two plays together in a single evening. And I asked him about the first one, about Santaland Diaries, and here's what Richard told me.
This character, Crumpet, he wants to be an actor in New York. And he moves to New York and he can't get a job. Where do I find work? I find work as an elf at Macy's Santaland. Not the most glamorous position to take. So it's the day-to-day life of this guy going to work every day at Macy's as an elf, and the kinds of challenges and amusements you would find in going through that process of learning what it requires to be an elf and dealing with the public and the different kinds of Santas he encounters. And it leads through the entire holiday season up until Christmas Eve.
Let me ask you, Mike, in your work as a struggling comedian, have you ever had to play an elf?
No, but I did play Santa
Did you?
1 year in Detroit.
We talked about
I was
this.
in
a
Detroit,
little bit.
yes, we did.
Yes, and it was not good for the knees.
It was enough to make me retire.
Yeah.
Grand opening, grand closing. I think is what Jay-Z...
How were the elves? Because maybe this is a story about you. Maybe this was written about you and you don't even know.
I had no elves.
Oh, you didn't?
No, it was just me.
It wasn't David Sedaris sitting there.
3 hours of me pouring myself into this character.
I got to know, do you sweat in that costume?
Like a stuck pig.
Ugh.
Yes. But it was my costume, though.
Oh,
I
it wasn't
bought
a
it
rental or
there.
anything like
No,
that.
I
It
made
wasn't-
sure of that. I didn't want anyone's hepatitis in there or anything like that. So
That's just gross. Well, anyway, that's what the first of these two plays is about. But there's a second one as well. I asked Richard what the second one is about, and here's what he said.
The second is Jocelyn Dunbar, this dear, sweet, or is she, lady, matriarch of a family who's gone through quite a bit of struggle in her life, dealing with a surprise visit from someone. I don't want to give anything away, but she's got a surprise visitor who ends up living at her house, and the police get involved, and maybe somebody dies, and she has to write her yearly Christmas letter out to everybody, and she addresses all of those issues in probably one of the funniest ways I've ever read or seen performed.
Yeah, so that should be a cool role.
I want to see this. I want to see both of these.
I do too. Well, they're together. The other thing that I asked, because Richard, of course, has to carry the whole, and this is something that we've talked about before. He's got to carry the entire production basically by himself. He's the only one on stage, and we've seen that. We've seen a number of one-woman shows happening this fall all throughout the city of Detroit, and I wanted to know, what is that like? Because it sounds difficult, doesn't it?
Very.
Well, here's what Richard had to say about it.
It's lonely. There's no one to play off of, especially until you have an audience. The audience is my scene partner, essentially. And you wait till they're there to feed off them. I mean, there's no one to share moments with on that stage. So you have to create moments with the other characters that you're talking about. So all of a sudden, you kind of feel like this schizophrenic person up there, like where you have you're this other character talking about this other character, and so you become that other character, and they have a reaction, then you come back to that other character and you have a reaction to that character's reaction. You're like, I'm the only one here, this is all I can do, people. But it's gratifying to create something like that, and at the end of the day to entertain people and come away having told a wonderful story, and hopefully having told it really well and amusing and moving fashion.
Yeah, so this looks like a great production. Again, it's Santaland Diaries and Season's Greetings, both based on the David Sedaris essays. You can see them Thursday, December 14th through Monday the 18th. Only a couple of days to go see it. It's at the Ringwald Theater in Ferndale. For all the details, you can go to theringwald.com. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to talk to the president of the Detroit chapter of the U.S. Bartenders Guild.
Welcome to the deep. Breathe.
Breathe. Funny stuff.
Mike, you're the expert. What's happening in the world of stand-up comedy?
All right, on Thursday the 14th, the annual clown show at Walgreens Center.
Wait, what?
the annual clown show at Walgreens Center at U of M in Ann Arbor.
You don't even sound phased. Like you make it sound like this is a normal thing.
It's perfectly normal if you're from Ann Arbor. There's a lot of clowns out there.
I gotta know what happens at the clown show in Ann Arbor.
Well, I believe that there is a clown class.
Yes.
And their big graduation show is that night.
Oh, that
on the
actually
14th.
sounds cool. I might go see that. Do they carpool or do they all take the same car?
Yeah, they all take the same car. All 20 of them.
Oh, we should just make bad clown
In a
jokes for
Yugo.
the rest of the night. All right.
Maybe talk about that. He did it, people. All right, on Friday the 15th.
Dude, I want to go see the clown show. I might have to cancel my other plans.
This is the clown show.
Yeah, I know.
On Friday, December 15th, Floyd J. Phillips will be at Big Tommy's in Novi. Kevin Heffernan and Steve Lemmy from the movie Super Troopers, they'll be at the Crowfoot Ballroom.
Nice.
The
That was a
same
cool
night,
movie.
Friday the 15th. Floyd will also be at Big Tommy's on Saturday, the 16th. At Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, Cincinnati Funny Man, Josh Sneed will be there Thursday through Saturday. That's the 14th through the 16th. At the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, Canadian-born comedian Ron Jossel. He'll import his brand of comedy there to Ann Arbor. They'll love it. That's Thursday through Saturday, 14th through the 16th. At Punchline Comedy Lounge in Southfield, Detroit comedy legend Mike Bonner.
Yeah, Mike Bonner.
He's
Big
been
guy.
on everything. He's been on Comic View. He's been on Def Comedy Jam on HBO. The guy's done anything and everything all over this planet.
Now, he runs his monthly showcase over at Mark Ridley's, but this is an opportunity to just see a full set of
Uptown
him.
Friday night at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. He does that once a month. You can catch him for 4 days, Thursday through Saturday, December 14th through the 17th at Punchline in Southfield. And at the Holly Hotel, my friend, the very funny Sal D'Amelio.
Yeah, he's great. We had him on that Detroit versus Detroiters podcast that we did.
Great guy, man,
Yeah,
all the
he's
way
cool.
around. He'll be there with Sheila Lovely on Friday and Saturday, the 15th and 16th. And also, big comedy festival coming up in Dearborn, the 5th annual 1001 Laughs Dearborn Comedy Festival will be there this Friday and Saturday. It's hosted by Amir Zar, and it's comedians from all over the world, from all nationalities. They'll descend upon Dearborn for this 2-day festival. I took part in it last year. I'll be on it again this year. I'm looking forward to it. It's a great festival.
That's cool. There are a lot of comedy festivals going on in Detroit.
A ton.
There's a lot of stand-up comedy, and again, if people don't know this, there is a lot happening in this city when it comes to stand-up
get
comedy.
out there and support live comedy, man.
Yeah.
It's important. It's important. You have a lot of funny people on their way up the comedy food chain.
And it's not just happening in the comedy clubs per se. I mean, you've obviously got Mark Ridley's, which has been here forever, but there's a lot of these sort of bar shows and these cool,
Right,
weird
there's Smalls, there's Sellerman's.
festivals going on.
All
Yeah.
over the place. Laugh Tracks out in Novi, which is a comedy club, but they often have comedy shows out there as well. You could check all of these things out on Facebook, Google them. It's worth it. It's worth the trip.
But if you're looking to start for the first time, you really want to get in and see a bunch of different local comedians. And look, maybe you don't even know what you like when it comes to stand-up comedy. A festival like this, like the 1001 Laughs Festival, is a great place to start. Head over to Dearborn and check it out.
Arab American Museum.
Yes, absolutely. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll talk Detroit sports.
Welcome to the deep.
Brave bottoms up.
All right, Mike, we have a very special guest in
Yeah, we do.
studio with us. She is the president of the Greater Detroit chapter of the United States Bartenders Guild. She's also a bartender over at the Keep. Liz Cosby.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, Liz.
Thanks for coming in. It's good to see you.
Well, hold on 1 second before we get started. Did you bring anything to drink?
I did not bring anything to drink. The roads, the roads aren't conducive to having cocktails at a podcast.
Being the president, I thought maybe you'd have like a utility belt like Batman and just, it's like, oh man, I could tequila sunrise. You just go.
I will not confirm or deny what's in my trunk right now.
This guy, it's Monday night.
I'm just saying.
This is the night that bartenders go out
Yeah,
and drink,
it's
though,
service
isn't it?
industry night.
Yeah,
Yep.
so-
After I leave here, I'll go straight to the bar and serve some drinks to some thirsty bartenders and chefs.
Can you tell us where all the cool Detroit bartenders hang out on Monday nights, or is that like forbidden knowledge?
No, I mean, it's not forbidden knowledge. They go and see Shane at the Painted Lady. He does service industry night on Mondays. They come to the Keep. There's also slow jams on Mondays at Woodbridge Pub. and karaoke at Marble Bar. So those are usually the big spots. And then Checker Bar, because they always serve food till 2 a.m. is always, you can find a bartender there any day of the week.
Can we talk about the Keep? That's the bar that you're working at now.
It is.
That is a cool spot.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great bar. I'm really lucky to work
Where's
there.
it located?
It's located at 140 Cadillac Square. It's on the same block as Checker Bar, right across the street from the 7-Eleven.
Ah, okay.
And explain, because there's an upper area, but there's also this lower area too.
Yeah, we have 2 floors. We have a basement bar, and we also have a main street level bar. Our main street level bar is mostly used in the summertime. We use it as our patio bar. We will be opening it up on the weekends in the winter, probably starting in January-ish. And then we've got our basement bar, which is really sort of the crown jewel of our establishment. So it's a lot of fun. It's perfect on a day like today where it's snowy and nasty. You have no idea what's going on outside, so it could be anything. Anything could be happening.
I felt like I was on Game of Thrones when I went there, to be honest. It's kind of got that.
Yeah, it's like the keep of a castle.
Yeah.
So it's
Got a giant dragon's head in there or something.
No, there's no dragon's heads, but some people might turn into dragons by the end of the night.
Well, talk about the cocktails that you've got there.
Yeah, we've got Leonard Lopp is our owner and beverage director, and he spent 12 years in New Orleans. So we've got a lot of drinks that give nod to New Orleans, and we do a lot of New Orleans classics at the bar. We have like 10, 15 classics on our menu, and then about the same number of original cocktails. So it's myself and Mike Finsilver and Leonard Lopp, and we all sort of collaborate to do the menu. And it's a focus on sort of fun stuff. We do a lot of fun cocktails. We like to call ourselves a yes bar. So yes, you can have a Jack and Coke, and yes, you can have a Bud Light, and yes, you can have a Hurricane or a Sazerac. And so,
See, I was just about to ask you that. As a bartender, what is the most agitating thing that someone could order? Because it seems to me like I'm a rum and Coke guy. That seems kind of plain Jane, and you guys have all these fancy drinks and stuff.
There's nothing. The only thing that's annoying for a bartender, we generally just want to get you a drink. So when you don't know what you want, or you're hemming and hawing, or you don't place your order all at the same time, that's where we get frustrated, because your actions affect every other person in the building. So if you need to take 35 minutes to order a drink, but you won't move to let somebody else order it, that means that now all of service has stopped for you to make a decision. And we genuinely, I don't care what you want to drink. My favorite drink to make is whatever is going to make you happy, Right. It's not about me.
Uh-oh.
See, I always thought you were the problem. Maybe I'm the problem drink order. I always want to have the thing that I've never had before.
Yeah, as long as you can give some direction, I would say any bartender worth their salt is more than happy to do a dealer's choice or whatever. But if all you can say is I want something good, or all I like is vodka, that's really hard to work with, because vodka is flavorless and odorless. So
Right.
It's do you want strawberries? Do you want give us something? We need to know something. You're way better walking in and saying I'm in the mood for something sour and tropical. That I can work with,
Just give them lemonade.
Yeah, here's a nice glass of lemonade.
I am trying to sell Mike on cucumbers in
No.
cocktails.
Stop it.
Yeah. The cucumber, that's either you love it or you don't. It's not
Not on a day like today, on a nice summer day,
do you like cucumbers as a food?
No.
Well, I think this is a fruitless effort then. I don't think we're going to get you to join Team Cucumber,
He's trying to get me on that team. It's in the pickle family, in that genre, and pickles, cucumbers.
But let me ask, as you're sitting down to plan out a menu, what goes into that? What are you thinking about?
A lot of stuff goes into it. Personally, when I make a menu, I think about everybody having something. So you want your menu to represent each spirit category. You're not going to do a menu of only vodka, but I think you're missing the mark if you don't have any vodka on your menu, So sort of looking at different styles of cocktails as well, different builds. You don't want all egg white drinks. You don't want all stirred drinks. Looking at your glassware, you only have so many glasses in the building, so you have to diversify your glassware. So you can't pick only coupe glasses, because then, you're going to run out of glassware every night. So all those things should go into it. And then also thinking about seasonality, in the wintertime, stirred drinks sell better than you don't want a 200 proof whiskey drink served hot in July, you know? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So it's that kind of stuff.
Do you think about things that might appeal to different genders or different age groups or different?
No, I mean, everybody likes to drink. Like, there is no stereotypical like gender, age, or whatever. Like, everybody from every walk of life drinks everything. So
it's perfectly okay for me to drink a Cosmo.
You can drink whatever you like.
Told you.
You can have it's if you're
cucumber
like
crap.
really like all we want is for you to be happy, and so that's it. Like, we just want you to be happy and for you to enjoy your drink, you know. So we're trying any help you can give us so that we can help you is all we're asking for, you know.
Talk about the state of the craft cocktail scene here in Detroit.
Oh man, I mean, our restaurant scene is it's exploded in the last 3 years. I would say, you know, Detroit is completely unrecognizable, especially downtown. There's a lot of businesses that have held on as well, which I think is a testament to the fact that, you know, we've always been a really good bar city. But now there's just a lot more options. There's, you know, a lot more fancy options. And really, you can sort of get whatever you want, which is pretty cool. There's great whiskey selections all over the city now. The bartenders are so wildly educated. It's a cool time to drink in the city. So,
what about all the sports teams moving into downtown? Has that had an effect on your business?
That doesn't affect my business directly. Sports people tend to want to watch TV, and we don't have TVs, so that's like one thing. Like, you kind of are looking for a specific type of bar before a sporting event. Definitely the businesses in like the Midtown area near Pizzarina, they have all seen a huge increase, and just different people. Places that used to have like a local following and a lot of regulars, now you just see new faces every day. So it's kind of like being in a hotel bar in a way.
Meaning that these are new people who are moving into Detroit?
No, meaning it's event-based. So you're going to go to the game on Monday, you're going to go to the game on Tuesday. Neither of you are going to be back for the year, you know? So every day it's just a different crowd.
So are you seeing more people come in from the suburbs now than you have in the past?
No, it's always been that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So.
Detroit's always been an event-based city. So, and it still is. I mean, there's definitely more people who live down there, but like building has not, like opening of apartments and places to live has not like kept pace, like a steady pace.
Hasn't caused a boom.
Yeah, I mean, there were like a bunch of apartment buildings that opened up and then like nothing, you know? And so, I mean, downtown's at capacity. So you can't like have more people living there than buildings to house them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So until more apartments open up, it's not going to be like just locals, you know? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Now, you must have some regulars. Do you ever see like the same guy come in with different dates on different nights or anything
like
that?
I mean, not as much in the very recent times, but there was a bar I worked at in the past where every Tuesday this guy would come in and he'd have a different girl with him every time. And I would try to kind of wing chick for him and be like, oh, you know, can I see your ID? Like, even though like I knew who he was and he knew who I was, I waited on him every week, you know? And he would always be so awkward about it. And I'm like, I'm here to help you out. Like, you're the one bringing in a new chick every week. Like, I'm doing my job, like, you know,
right.
by acting like we've never seen you before, you know?
You probably had a name like Todd or Chad or something like that.
So interestingly enough, he's Canadian. And I only know that because I would check his ID. And another bar I worked at maybe a year and a half later, he came in with another girl, and he's like, oh, you look super familiar. And I was like, yeah, you know, you do too. I don't know where it is. And I totally knew where it was. But I was like, okay, so we've switched bars. So that makes sense.
You're like giving them the fingers to the eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Hang out for a couple of minutes because I want to find out more about the Bartenders Guild and about what that's doing here in Detroit. We'll talk about that in a few.
The deep breathe. The deep breathe.
Sports Report.
All right, Mike, what's going on in the world of sports?
Well, our Pistons haven't been doing that well lately. They've lost like 6 in a row or something like that.
That's not pretty.
After a very auspicious start.
It's not pretty.
Yeah. Fortunately, they're getting the heck out of Dodge. We're sending them out of town so they can get some practice in against the Atlanta Hawks on Thursday. And then on Friday, they'll be in Indiana to take on the Pacers, only to come back home to play the Orlando Magic.
I'm
on
curious.
Sunday.
Do you have a made-up name for every venue in every city, or is it just ours?
No, I'm just only concerned about our city.
He is trying to get the name. He doesn't like the name Little Caesars Arena.
No, they missed the mark. It's supposed to be the Pizza Arena.
See, she said that earlier, and no, it's going to be the Hot and Ready, the Hara.
No, it's the Pizza Arena.
Because it has
No, you got to remember. You have
we
to
got a
remember
battle.
you have to remember the Little Caesars commercials from back in the day. Pizza. You got it. So for long, it's the Pizza Arena, but it's the Pizza Arena.
But see, I understand that, but you have to have an acronym, like JLA, LCA, Hara.
We're really.
And right now, they're so horrible, it's horrible. See? You can play that in the news, man.
You know what? That's a 2-kid minimum dad joke right
See,
there.
I'm just kidding. Snap. And you didn't bring drinks? All right, silence her mic. The Red Wings, who also been taking it on the chin, a 7-game losing streak. They're at home. While the Pistons are on the road trying to get better, the Red Wings will be at home on Wednesday, December the 13th against the Boston Bruins. On Friday, the 15th, they'll take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. And on Tuesday, the 19th, they'll go on the road to take on the New York Islanders. So that's cool. Basketball, college basketball. Both MSU and U of M, they'll be participating in the Hitachi College Classic. Yes, Hitachi College Classic.
You did that well.
Yeah, thank you. On Saturday, they'll take on, MSU will take on the Oakland the Grizzlies at the Hara. This is going at the Hara. This is all Michigan teams, local teams.
I don't know. I kind of like Pizza Arena.
Pizza Arena.
It's going to be the Hara. Hush. That's on Saturday.
Did you ever do that thing where you put 2 tip jars out and people can vote for which they want by tips?
Yeah, no, we never did that. But
Or you did A and B, it's Pepsi and Coke, and it was like, oh, I like it.
That's a bartender trick to increase tips, right? I mean, I've seen that. I see it at food trucks more than I see it in bars.
yeah, no, we don't put our tips on the. People touch your stuff, so we don't put our tips on the bar.
I see.
People have.
So what? You're going to try to do a Hara and
Pizza Arena?
No,
see
we're
which gets more
the
tips.
Keep fully backs the Pizza
Hara.
Arena. We're working really hard on the Pizza Arena.
This is like Game of Thrones. You need to marry somebody and get
But
somebody
here's the thing. But here's
form
the
an
thing,
alliance
though.
with you.
Here's the thing, though. Are you going to trust someone who serves drinks to the public, or are you going to trust a comedian who serves love to the public?
It depends.
Me.
Who's serving
It's
me
the Hara.
drinks.
There's a lot of love at the bottom of your glass.
Okay. And you can get funnier if you drink more. All right, let me get back to this, people. So the Oakland Grizzlies are taking on MSU in the Hitachi Basketball Showcase at the Hara on Saturday. And on Monday, they'll be taking on the Houston Baptist Huskies at home at the Brez. The Huskies, get ready for that classic challenge. U of M, like I said, they'll be taking on the Detroit Titans in the Hitachi College Basketball Showcase at the Hara. And then that's about it. They have a pretty easy week.
right.
Go kick their feet up. Let's see. Our Lions finally won a game last weekend.
So wait, we need 3 for a maybe? Is that what we're saying here?
We have to win the rest of the games. We have to win the rest of our games to even get a possible chance at the playoffs. It's looking kind of tight, but they take on the Chicago Bears in a special Saturday clash. Saturday.
That's weird.
Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. They're taking them on at home, too, at the Ford Field. The Fara. Is what I'm just kidding. At Ford Field.
You're reaching.
Still not a thing. Still not a thing.
So, yeah, that's really it for sports.
Hey, I do want to mention Senate Bill number 178. Here's the deal. What this piece of legislation does is it creates collector license plates for all 4 of the sports teams, and some of the proceeds are going to go to MIS Cares. That's a special fund. And if this gets passed, it's already passed the Michigan Senate, but it's got to pass the House. If it's something you want, I don't know, you guys want a license plate? You want a Tigers license plate? You want a Pistons license plate?
I would.
You would?
I want better roads and schools, but so this doesn't really affect me. But I'm excited for all of you who want that.
You won't be calling your rep over the over the collector's license.
No, I've got bigger concerns right now.
Well, if it doesn't happen this week,
Well,
then
listen, if my car breaks down in one of these potholes, it'll have a nice Detroit Lions license plate on it.
Right,
And I would be like, she was so right.
Yeah, your car is gonna look super cool on the
About
side
that.
of the road.
She was so right about that one thing, but wrong about the stadium. Huh?
well, if you want it to pass, call your rep because either it passes the House, this week, or it's going to have to wait until 2018.
This is the Deep Breeze.
All right, our guest today is Liz Cosby. She is a bartender over at the Keep. You've worked at a number of other places too, right? You've
I have.
Sugar House and Last Word. And tell us about some of the places you've been, because you've made the journey.
I have. I moved back to Michigan in 2011 from the East Coast, and I got a job shortly thereafter at Red Haven Farm to Table, which is in Okemos. Really, really, really good restaurant. And I had the opportunity to start doing craft bartending then. I started bartending in 2001, but it was the bartending scene has definitely changed, and the amount of resources out there for bartenders has completely changed. So I took some opportunities and got into the more craftier side of things, joined the Bartenders Guild, and here I am today on the debrief.
Well, can we talk about that organization? Because you are now the president of
Yeah.
the Detroit chapter of the U.S. Bartenders Guild. For people who don't know, what is this organization all about?
The United States Bartenders Guild is a professional development, like professional trade association, basically, similar to like the Michigan Dental Association or.
It sounds way cooler than the Michigan Dental Association.
Well, I mean, you say that now, but when your dentist is in your mouth, you're gonna be glad that he's part of that group, So basically, it started as an organization originally to like professionally develop bartenders, give networking resources, stuff like that, host competitions, things of that nature. And then also before the Affordable Care Act, it was the only way for bartenders to get into a collected group insurance rate. Which that dissolved once the ACA passed because everybody could get their own through the marketplace. But not a union and not a lobbying firm. So like the Michigan Brewers Guild or the Michigan Distillers Guild, they are mainly a lobbying arm, and they work on changing laws to support microbreweries and the growth of the brewery industry in the state. We basically do a lot of education, and it's basically for professional development. So there's no degree you need for bartending. There's not even really on-the-job training. So if you go to bartending school, like you have to use paint water because the way the alcohol laws are, you can't have alcohol if you don't have a liquor license, and it's just too expensive.
Oh, and they don't get a liquor
license. So there's really no training except for on the job for bartending, and that's sort of the void that the Bartenders Guild fills.
So when you talk about training, I'm getting the sense that you're talking about something much broader than just the craft cocktails that we've been talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we do a lot of spirit education. We've done garnish classes. We've done competition classes. We've done. We partnered with Pulp Productions to do a day-long seminar in November for Cocktail Classic, which is Detroit's newly minted cocktail week.
Yeah, we had the organizers on to talk to them.
Yeah, Anthony Morrow and Travis Formont, they're really, really great. They've been doing Whiskey Rebellion and Cocktail Classic as just a grand tasting for 5 years now. And so this is the first year that with the whole community sort of partnered together to offer a week-long event. And so we did a competition seminar, and we brought people in from all over the country, and we actually did the first judging seminar, like teaching people how to judge cocktail competitions. Something most people don't realize is A, there are cocktail competitions, and B, that judges are needed and not everybody. It's actually a skill that needs to be taught.
So I got to know then, because I've seen these cocktail competitions. Yeah. What makes a good cocktail judge?
I mean, really, a lot of it is the ability to put your personal bias aside and put your personal tastes aside.
Yeah, a cucumber could win.
Well, no, but that's sort of the thing is like if you know you hate cilantro,
right,
you need to be able to judge on if it's still balanced. Like, can you taste the base spirit? Is there an acid? Is there a sweetener? Is there all of that? Just because you hate cilantro doesn't mean that the cocktail isn't good. It's just not for you,
Right.
So oftentimes I make stirred drinks, but I don't drink stirred drinks. So for me, giving me a stirred drink is never going to be for me, Right. But it doesn't mean that it's not a well put together stirred drink, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's really the biggest, I think, the number one.
It's about being objective.
It's about being objective, and then it's also knowing what the competition is about. So if somebody's looking for, you know, the most creative drink, you know, then something very simple isn't going to fit the bill, you know? If you have to look at like the whatever spirit brand is partnered, you know, in this competition. Is it a gin competition? Can you taste gin? If it's not, if you can't, then, you know, even if the cocktail is the best cocktail you ever had, you know, does it fit for that competition, you know?
So what do you look for first in a bar, but and then also in a cocktail or a cocktail menu?
I mean, to be honest, I would call myself a spirits enthusiast. So I like all different kinds of bars depending on what I want to do. So, I mean, I love dive bars. I love, you know, craft cocktail bars and fancy bars. Just kind of depends. At the end of the day, I want some level of efficiency of service and hospitality first and foremost. And then, you know, the type of crowd that you keep and sort of like you kind of control your room as a bartender. And you kind of, you know, the type of regulars you bring and you keep there and stuff like that. The type of music you play. Like, I'm not going to go to a metal bar for any reason. It's just a miserable experience for me, you know?
Right.
Just like I'm not going to go to like a weird, like super country bar. Like it's just not going to be for me. Like, am I going for one, you know? So like that'll make a difference. But mostly it's, you know, depends on what I want to do.
But see, my whole thing was, like, I always found it fascinating to be a bartender. I thought it was cool because I grew up watching The Love Boat. I grew up watching Isaac. I thought, like, that's dope, man. He's pouring drinks for all of these lovely ladies, and they're coming up to him, and he's hooking up. I mean, that's a thing, right? But now, I'm kind of like, you know, I just want to drink, man. Yeah, there's an art to it. It's not just him back there just shaking the thing and looking all cool with the bow tie. He's actually producing something.
Is there an element of educating the public?
Yes. I mean, so like I've been doing this for so long that I have a really hard time like not educating the public. Probably when it's not my job and I don't have to do it, but it's hard for me to not. I like to think that if whatever type of customer you are when you walk in, you're going to leave a better customer afterwards, because there's a lot of stuff that people do because they have no idea what goes into running a restaurant or running a bar, and it's a lot of behavior that like is unacceptable, but people don't realize it because we sort of have this idea that like the customer's always right and like you're entitled when you're paying for, you know, your food or beverage. But, you know, if you wouldn't do it at your mother's house, you know, you shouldn't do it in the bar.
So what are the worst things that people can do in a bar? What are like the rules that I should follow or not?
I mean, honestly, like if you have a question, ask the bartender. There's a lot of people who just like ask their friend, and their friend's like, I don't know what that is. And it's like, why are you, like, I can hear you guys, like you're standing right in front of me and you're asking each other, and I'm like right here, you know, I'm right here, and it's literally my job.
It's like going to the doctor's office and being like, Mom, what do you think this is? And the doctor's standing right in front of you.
That's exactly what it's like. Or if I go in to your insurance agency and I'm like, oh, well, you know, Google says this. It's like, no, just like ask the, you know.
Right.
So that's one thing. You know, it's okay to be indecisive, and it's okay to not have an idea of what you want, but you have to realize like you're one of 50 people in a room, and your actions affect everybody else's. So if you're standing there hemming and hawing and taking forever, or if you've ordered your drink and you're clearly in the one place where everyone has to order their drink, like move. You know, I know you're comfortable and I know you want to be there and I know you want to watch the show, but you're literally stopping everybody else in the room from doing what they need to do. So I would say, you know, just being more courteous to your fellow man, and then giving some sort of direction, like dealer's choice. Like we all just want to get a drink in your hand and have you be happy. That's literally all we want to do. We just want to make you happy. So, you know, if you want us to create something for you, we're more than happy to do it, but you have to give some sort of direction, you know, knowing something to the effect of like, Like, and just saying you want vodka isn't enough. Like, if you have a flavor in mind, if you want cucumber, for example, say that, you know? Or if you hate something, like if you despise cucumber, tell me, you know?
Right.
Because that's something I can work with, you know?
I have a question. The packed room, bars packed, people ordering drinks, someone's trying to move around to get your attention. What's the worst thing that they can do to get your attention? Because I know people pound on the counter, or hey, or they're whistle, or they're waving and stuff. I've seen all of that activity go on.
Mike starts taking his clothes off.
Yeah, I just one by one. It's like someone's going to pay attention to me.
So I can't speak for every bartender on earth. Everybody has something different. Like snapping at people is not a great idea. Pounding is not a great idea.
The fingers,
yeah,
that's not cool. That's not cool.
And in this day and age, like if you're gonna snap at somebody, expect to be snapped back. You know, like I'll walk over to you, and I have no other people who will do the same and snap right back in your face and ask you what you want to drink and say, hey, you don't like that either, do you? But that being said, to be honest, I would rather have you do anything to let me know you need something than just stand there silently waiting for me to read your mind. That's my personal, like, so many times somebody just stands there and you're like, hey, can I get you something? And they are not paying attention and they're just standing there, and then they're like, hey, we've been standing here for forever. It's like, well, me too. I've been waiting, I didn't know you needed something. So like, I would say I'm probably, different in that I would rather have you get my attention if you're waiting, than just stand there silently hoping that I'll call on you.
My girlfriend gets mad at me all the time because I pay for everything with credit card, and she says you should always tip in cash.
So there's like the rebellious part of me that thinks like everyone should just have cash all the time. Like really, every time you run your card, you're paying large credit card companies to get richer. So like credit card systems as a whole is another topic for discussion. But if you are going to use a credit card, open a tab. Be responsible. If you're old enough to have a drink, you're old enough to remember your card at the end of it. Open a tab. You stop service every time you order even a simple drink like a Bud Light, and you make me run your card. That is completely unnecessary, and the only reason you're doing it is because you're irresponsible. That's not my fault, and that's not the fault for anyone else in the room. So if you are going to pay with a card, start a tab. Buy each other's rounds. You know what I mean? Like that's another thing I see that's just so common. Like, what kind of people do you hang out with that you won't buy each other's rounds? Like, that's the worst.
Acquaintances.
Like,
they're not buddies. They're just acquaintances.
Like, Mike, I got you this time. You get me at the next bar. Like, and if that relationship isn't reciprocal, we're gonna know at the end of the night, and I'm not gonna go back out with you. Like that's just how there is to it. So I would say like it's more like, again, being courteous. It's not when bartenders like have rules or whatever for service. It's not for us. It's really for everybody else in the room. If you touch our stuff, that's stuff that goes in other people's drinks. Like if you touch the fruit on the bar, like that's gonna go in someone's drink.
That's gross.
So if you need me to run your card for you every 2 minutes, like that's stopping someone else from getting a drink.
I feel like I've learned a lot. I feel like I'm going to be a much better customer next time I go out.
I'm just ordering rum and Cokes from here on out. I don't want any fancy stuff. Let's make it quick and simple.
You can order whatever you want. If we have it, we will make it for you. I promise.
Well, Liz, thank you so much for stopping by. This has been great. Tell us what kind of events the Bartenders Guild's got coming up that you want to...
Well, our next event will be our holiday party for our members, which it's usually the first Monday after New Year's, and that's a closed event, and that's something where we reward all of our members based on activity. So the more events you've come to throughout the year, the more times you volunteered for things, the more points you get. And then we give away Christmas presents, basically, and it can be anything from like a really nice bottle of booze to T-shirts and stuff like that. But you get to pick your present based on how often you showed up. So that's cool. And then we've got our winter mixer will be at the end of February, and that is open to all bartenders in the industry. That's sort of it's sort of a trade show / member recruitment event.
Yeah,
so,
I was going to ask, if somebody's a bartender and they want to come learn more about the Bartenders Guild, how should they do that?
You can always Facebook message us. You can always email us at detroit@usbg.org. That goes to all of the council members. And then depending on what it is, we do a lot of ticketed events because we have limited seats. But we also have open stuff as well. So that's the best way to come and check out something we have going on in the city. And if you want to join, you go online to usbg.org and sign up through that system. It's $125 for the year. And I promise you'll get your money's worth in the first couple events. So,
all right, Liz, thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, we'll come see you at the Keep.
The D-Brief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.
Man, they go quick, don't they? That's another show right there.
It's like, man, right now it's just like water coming out of a fire hose. It's just fast, and furious.
There's a lot going on in this city.
A ton going on, and we're covering it every week. It's amazing.
And yet I feel like we barely scratched the surface.
We still leave a lot on the table. We only have, an hour, a little more than an hour to do this? We can't do this thing all night. 24 hours talking about Detroit.
Well, look, I gave you a pop quiz earlier in the episode. We're going to find out if you know the answer to that. But before we do, there's a lot of people we got to thank. Liz Cosby, president of the Greater Detroit chapter of the United States Bartenders Guild. Go check her out over at Keep. She's absolutely fantastic. Have her make you a drink. But be prepared when you walk in. All right, I learned this tonight. You got to have some idea of what you want. All right?
Yeah, don't go in there and like, something with cucumber and
Is that your impression of me? Also, thank you to Amy Peterson, founder of Rebel Nell Jewelry. Very, very, very cool Christmas gift for that special somebody. And Diane Bailey, the director, and Richard Payton, the actor of the Santaland Diaries and Season's Greetings. Go check them out over at the Ringwald Theater in Ferndale.
I know I will.
Should be a great show. Thanks also to Renegado, Jag, and James Clausen. They help us put the show together. You can subscribe to the show really wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it is Apple Podcasts, whether it's Google Play Music, whether it's Stitcher, anything like that. If you do, please leave a review. That helps other people find the show. Also, you can download the mobile app. We've got it now. We've got it both for iPhones and for Android phones. Go check it out. It's absolutely awesome. You can follow us on social media. We are The Debrief Detroit on Facebook. We are at The Debrief on Twitter, and we are The Debrief on Instagram. Also, we've got a Facebook group called What's Happening in Detroit This Week. So whether you're somebody who just likes to go out in the city of Detroit, or even if you're somebody who puts on events, produces arts and entertainment, any kind of nightlife events, feel free to post them in that Facebook group. You can also send your announcements to press at thedebriefdetroit.com. You can find everything that we talked about in this episode over at our website, thedebriefdetroit.com. And if you want to join the email list, just send a text message. Text the word Detroit to the number 444-999. Okay, Mike, are you ready?
I believe I am.
So every week, you give me some homework, something I got to go research because I'm the new guy in town and I got to acclimate myself to this city, and then I give you a pop quiz. All right, here's the way the pop quiz works. I'm going to read 3 statements. 2 of them are true, 1 of them is false. We've got to see if you can identify the false statement. So here we go.
Get this one.
We'll find out. Statement number 1, the stadium, because we're talking about Tiger Stadium. That was my homework. Tiger Stadium opened on April 12th, 1920, the same day as Fenway Park in Boston. Number 2, exactly 11,111 home runs were hit at Tiger Stadium, including Babe Ruth's 700th homer on July 13th, 1934. And number 3, Sanders Confectionery, Detroit institution, named their legendary dessert, Bumpy Cake, in honor of the unusual left-handed pitching style of player Sam Crawford.
Okay.
Which one is not true?
I'm going to have to guess at this one. 11,111 home runs sounds about right. I think I counted that many on my own. So
You got a little tally run? You got a little chalkboard like an abacus?
Yeah, I'm pretty smart. I'm like Rain Man when it comes to home runs. So I'm going to say that's real. So that's Boston and the Bumpy Cake. I do remember Sam Crawford, his pitching style. They called it bumpy. It's a little bumpy. I don't know. I don't know anything about Sam Crawford. No, so I'm going to guess
You're just trying to read my expression, aren't you? You're just trying to see if I'll have any giveaways.
So
any tells.
I'm going to say that the answer is Fenway Park. It did not. That's the false one.
No.
It opened the same day as Fenway.
Opened the same day as Fenway Park.
Oh, I hate Boston again.
The false statement was Sanders Confectionery. They did not name their Detroit dessert bumpy cake after Sam Crawford.
Sam Bumpy Crawford?
No, it's not Sam Bumpy Crawford.
I mean, Bumpy Cake Crawford?
Nope. But don't worry, you'll get a chance next week to try again.
Do I know anything about this city? I mean...
These are hard. These are not easy. I sit there for hours making these things up. I do a lot of research. Speaking of research, I got to do some more homework for next week. What do you got for me?
Well, there's a building that's in disrepair. It's been that way for a while. Recently, an article came out that said that they are going to tear it down and make some restaurants and whatnot there. So
what is it?
Restaurant and bars. The Packard plant.
The Packard plant.
Yes, everyone from Detroit knows about the Packard plant. People go there to take pictures with their loved ones or take their cars down and take it because, new shiny cars against the old backdrop of the Packard plant.
I don't have a photo of my car in front of the Packard plant.
Well, we should go down there before they tear it down because it's a sight to see. It's a big plant.
All right. Well, I tell you what, I will do some homework. I will find out about the Packard plant, and next week we'll see if you can pass my pop quiz. Till then, thanks for listening.
The D Brief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.